I'm going to show you the only day trading video you need to watch. I'm going to go step by step and show you guys exactly how you can earn an extra 5 to 10K per month from trading. We're going to do a full course, and what we're going to cover first is the easy and step-by-step strategy to trade. So I'm going to dive in the charts, show you guys exactly where to buy and sell on the charts so you have a strategy that actually works. I'm then going to share the tools I use to have insanely good risk management, and I'm going to give you guys access to them for free as well. Lastly, what I'm going to do is give you guys the tried and tested secrets to having a good trading psychology. I have not shared these with anyone else, so you guys are going to get a nice inside scoop on that. Now, you're going to leave this video having mastered the 3 obstacles of trading. Going to be strategy, risk management, and psychology, which is great because there is nothing stopping you from having success after mastering these obstacles. Now, why should you even listen to me in the first place? Well, if you don't know me and you're new, my name is Jordan. I've been trading about 6 years. I've been full-time for the last 2.5. I have over hundreds of thousands of profits, and I've grown many small accounts over and over again. And now, after this past year, I've taught over 300 students how to trade profitably, again, in just the last year. Now, I can sit here, guys, and show you all the different amounts of money and small accounts I've been able to grow, but what's most important is that you need to know that this works. I have done the data. I have tested what works and what doesn't work. I've done so much back testing, so much research, and so I know exactly what works, and you're going to learn all of that in this video today. Lastly, guys, before we get started, this video is not going to make you rich overnight, okay? This is a quick disclaimer. You're not going to get rich right after watching this video, but it will set the standard for you to eventually become rich, okay? Just like Napoleon, who was able to grow his account from 500 to 10K in 3 months, just like Jacob, who started making 10K in 8 weeks, just like Amar, who's now making $1,000 a day, and just like Mark, who's able to make $7,000 in a single day while trading from his teacher job. Okay, he's a teacher in elementary school, and you can do the exact same. Now, let's go ahead and get started. It's going to be a lot of fun. So first thing is the strategy, okay? Now, there are hundreds of strategies that work out there. There's millions of people that things trade. Now, what's important is that the strategy you use is proven and back-tested to work, okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm about to dive in the charts and show you the strategy I've used that's worked for me over the past 4 years. Okay, so we're in the charts now. I want to go ahead and show you guys the strategy that I've been using to make me consistent profits. Now, what it's called is supply and demand. Now, you may have heard of supply and demand, maybe not, but I'm going to give you a basic breakdown of exactly how it works so you know exactly where to buy and sell. Now, supply and demand is based off of institutional zones, okay? So you like to draw zones on your chart that look like this, okay? So you have these zones where price is going to bounce from high to low. It's a reversal trading strategy. Now, how do we actually identify where these zones are, where the banks and institutions are buying and selling? Well, it's going to be based off of one word and one factor only, which is called speed, okay? Now, speed is an extremely important topic that you guys need to understand, okay? Speed is where we find those reversals happen, okay? If you find a fast-moving price action or fast-moving price action candlesticks, that's going to show you there is aggressive buying or aggressive selling, hence a good area for a reversal. So let me go ahead and show you how exactly to draw these zones. If we're taking a look at ES futures on a 1-hour chart, and guys, quick disclaimer, this works on all charts, on all time frames, on literally all stocks, everything. I'm just going to do a few different examples to show you here. But if we're looking at ES on the 1-hour chart, I want you guys to look at this price action right here, okay? You can see from this low down at basically 5,000 all the way up to 5,100, we have a massive fast move higher, okay? Now, how do we know that this move is actually fast? Well, you can see just how quickly the price moves, right? If we're taking a look at, this area where price goes from, this area to here, like 5120 to 5140, it ends up taking like a whole day. And back here, price went from, over 100 points in literally, what is this, like half a day, right? So this is very fast price action. You can see that we have candlesticks that move fast, they move straight up, and they don't have a lot of pullbacks, okay? They also don't have a lot of wicks, okay? So a really quick note you can do is less wicks, also less pullbacks, make it a very, very solid demand zone or supply zone, okay? Now, how do we actually draw the zone? Where does it actually start? Well, what you want to look for is the consolidation base that happens right before the move, okay? Because a lot of times what happens is price is going to be moving down. We're going to have a little bit of consolidation. Sometimes it's 1 candle, sometimes it's 10 candles. And then we see that fast move going in the opposite direction, okay? And what we want to do is figure out where that consolidation actually is, and that is going to be our zone, okay? That's where the institutions were loading up before the price exploded higher. And again, sometimes it's going to be 1 candle, sometimes it's going to be a lot, and that's going to be up to you to help determine. But I'm going to go walk you through some examples, make it really easy for you, okay? So we're taking a look at ES here on the 1-hour chart. What do we see? We see price have a fast move lower, okay? We have this 1 minute of consolidation here, or 1 hour candle of consolidation, and then a huge fast move higher, okay? So what we want to do is take that consolidation candle before the move starts, which in this case would be this one right here. We're take it from the high all the way down to the low, and then we're going to extend it out like that, okay? Now this is going to be our zone, okay? And the way these zones are played is that you want to be taking the bounce after price comes back to it. Okay, because we don't know that this is actually a demand zone until price has already made the fast move higher, right? So what we want to do is actually play the bounce when price comes back into that zone, which is going to be in this area down here, right? And you can see what happens that price, we have the fast move higher, we consolidate up here for a little bit, we come back down into this demand zone, and then we bounce a little bit higher, okay? We get a nice, like, basically another like 80-point move out of this zone down here. And we end up coming back down after, right? But that's all we're trying to do. We're trying to take advantage of short-term movements so we can profit on the markets. Now, you guys are going to find that this actually works on pretty much all time frames. So even if I'm looking at today and today's price action, I go on a 1 minute chart, you can typically get a good sense of how this price actually moves, right? So what do we see? We see price makes a move higher. What do we see? We have a lot of consolidation. And then we see a really fast move right here, okay? So again, you guys see the difference in speed, how like this move right here, we have a lot of pullbacks, we have a lot of red candles, we have, you know, kind of a lot of wicks, versus the move right here, if I can explain it right here, we have like 3 candles in a row, just straight up, straight green, no pullbacks, no wicks, nothing. That is a fast move. And so what we want to do is when we're trading supply and demand is take that little consolidation that happens right before that move and use that as our zone, right? So in this instance, we take the candle or two right before it, we'd extend it out. You can see price comes back down into this area and then bounces a lot higher. Now this zone actually isn't the greatest because we kind of dipped below it a little bit. And typically in this scenario, I don't want to get too advanced, but typically you'd want to actually move up to a higher time frame, like a 5 minute or a 15 minute. We'll go to like a 5 minute here. So the zone would actually cover all the way down to the bottom, just like this. Okay, I'm going to keep it a little less complicated for you guys, and I'll show you later in the video how to be more, you know, advanced when it comes to trading this. But to keep it simple, we're just going to go with this. Okay, so price comes back down into this area, you buy, and then price ends up reversing back higher. Okay, it's a very simple strategy. Now, the other thing that's really important is that, again, this works on all different time frames. So I'm going to show you another example here of eBay on a daily chart, more of a swing trading example that you could use. But again, all of this correlates to day trading. You can do the exact same thing, right? But here's just another example you can do, right? What do we see? We see price move up, price pulls back right around here, okay? We have about 1 candle, 2 candle, 3 candle consolidation. And then here is where the fast move starts, right? If I zoom in a little bit, you can see right here, this is a huge fast move, huge daily candle, right? We go from like 69 all the way up to like 74 in a day. It's a huge move. So what we want to do is find the candle right before that move starts, or the consolidation, which in this case, it's going to be this day right here. We're going to go from the high to the low, and then we're going to extend that out, just like that, okay? And what does price do? Price comes back right into that zone, and then we end up bouncing and reversing off of it, okay? It works time and time again, over and over. Now, supply and demand on its own is okay, but what's better is having confirmations. In a second, I'm going to show you guys exactly where to get these confirmations, how they work. But first, I want to show you the execution side, because execution is extremely important when it comes to trading in general, and you're going to need it if you want to become successful. Now, how do I actually execute and play off these zones? Well, with the supply and demand, the reason why I love it is because it's so simple, right? All you have to do is this. When price comes down into the zone, the top of the zone, if we're doing a demand zone, is going to be your entry. And your stop loss, it's going to be right under the zone, right? It's going to be your stop loss. So it's really simple. It's really easy to trade. You simply buy right when price comes at the top of demand. You put your stop loss right below it. And your targets can really depend on a few different things, right? You can use your targets based on liquidity. That's a whole different topic. Essentially, liquidity just means highs and lows. So we would target this high right here. Or you could do another supply zone. Okay, so maybe we could use this little supply zone right here. We end up breaking it. But you can see on this move here, we would have had about 1.24 R on this exact trade. Okay, now if we, obviously went a little bit higher, we would have had a much higher risk reward, right? If we had our stop loss there, we targeted it up at this liquidity, it would have been a 3R trade. Okay, so you can do either one. Now, when it comes to trading supply and demand, you need to make sure you're using other confirmations, okay? And one of the confirmations that I like to use with supply and demand is trend, okay? And trend is extremely, extremely important, because if you don't have this right, you're not going to have a lot of edge in your system, right? You're not going to have a lot of good win rate, and it's going to be tougher to actually find success using this. So how do I actually use trend? Well, trend in itself is a really basic core concept, right? What you want to see is higher highs and higher lows. higher highs and higher lows. That's going to be an uptrend, okay? And a downtrend is going to be the opposite, lower lows and lower highs, just like that, okay? Now, it's relatively easy to spot this on a chart. I don't need to go too in-depth on it, but the rule of thumb of trading supply and demand with trend goes like this, okay? You want to only buy demand zones in an uptrend, okay? And then same thing vice versa. You only want to short supply zones in a downtrend, all right? And I can show you a really good example of this. We go to AMD, we zoom out way back, and I know, you know, again, I'm zooming out in a weekly time frame here, but again, everything applies to a 1 minute and 5 minute chart. If we look right around here, you can see when price is kind of in this downtrend where we're having, you know, low, high, low, high, low, high, low, very clear downtrend, all of these demand zones are breaking, right? You can see that, you know, this demand zone down here ends up breaking, right? This demand zone here, we actually hold for a little bit, but then we end up breaking, right? Same thing down here, break. We're in a downtrend, of course, that's going to happen. And then what we see is that price actually ends up switching into an uptrend, right? We start to see a change in trend, and this means that price starts forming higher highs and higher lows, okay? And when we see this form, that's when we want to switch to buying in demand zones, okay? Because you could have shorted supply zones all day in here, would have worked, but you start shorting supply zones up in here, it's not going to work, right? You're going to keep getting demolished over and over again if you try and short these supply zones like this, okay? Whereas if you're taking the demand zones, because now you've recognized we're in an uptrend, it's going to make it a lot easier to actually find these zones and actually be successful trading this. And again, this is all on a weekly time frame, but I promise you, you can find the exact same thing on a smaller time frame and trade it the exact same way, okay? Like I can show you here, right here in the 1 minute, what do we find? We see that price was in a downtrend. Now price is starting to be in an uptrend. We see a high, a low, high, low, high, low, high, low. You guys can see that we're starting to bounce off of these demand zones, okay? We haven't really seen it quite so far. You could consider this one a demand zone right here that we bounced off of, right? Even this one itself, if we come back down, we could bounce off it. But you guys get the idea, right? You want to stick with trend and only trade based off the trend with these supply and demand zones. All right, guys, now that was like a basic overview of supply and demand. And if you want to learn a lot more of how that works, what I've done is I've actually made a free supply demand course, and I've put it inside something called the Vault, which is my free course and community. I'm going to leave a link for that in the description below. We have over 3,000 students. We have other courses, other tools. We do live trading each week. And there's a free supply demand course in there that you're going to have access to right away. Again, it's 100% free. So after watching the video, go ahead, click the link in the description and join that, and you can learn a lot more about supply and demand, a lot more in-depth stuff, okay? But I want to move on. I want to move to step number 2, which is going to be risk management, okay? And as we all know, risk management is so key. It's so important when it comes to trading. And there's really 2 main focuses on when it comes to risk management, or RM, okay? And the first one is going to be that you're risking the same amount each trade. I'm going to talk about that in a second. And the other one is going to be income variance. Now, you probably have not heard of income variance. That's okay. I'm going to explain exactly what that is and why you need it in your trading. Okay, so when it comes to risk management, you should always be risking the same amount each trade. It's really, really important that you do that because that's the only way you're going to figure out if you have an actual edge. Okay, and that amount that you're risking should be anywhere from 1 to 5% depending on your account size, all right? So what the general rule of thumb that I like to use is if you have a larger account, which in this instance is anywhere above 10K, you really want to be risking 1 to 2%, okay? Now, I will say on smaller accounts below 5K, you will do 3 to 5%. A lot of other traders will say 1 to 2% on every account. Personally, if we're being honest here, if you have a small account, it's only a few thousand or a few hundred, and you're trading options, it's very, very tough to risk 1 to 2% of your account, okay? So I typically lean that up to 3 to 5%. You should be all right as long as you have a winning strategy. Again, using the one I showed you earlier in the video, you should be okay doing that, all right? But if you're able to risk the same amount in every single trade, that is going to allow you to keep your edge and make sure that there are no other variables affecting your trading. Because to be honest, it doesn't matter really what your risk reward or what your win rate is if you don't have good risk management, right? I could have a 70% win rate, but if I'm losing, you know, $500 on one trade and losing $1,000 on the next and $100 on the next, it's not gonna matter what my win rate is. It's just gonna be uneven, and I'm not gonna see consistency. So always make sure you're risking the same amount in every trade, and you're doing it with a small percent of your portfolio. Now, the next thing that's really important is income variance, okay? And this is something that not a lot of other traders talk about, but it's really, really important. And basically, it goes like this, okay? Self-awareness is key, and knowing yourself is going to help you know how much to risk on each trade and also how much to fund your account with. Okay, and I put this picture on the screen here because basically, I know a lot of people that are rich that are very, very cheap, right? $100 is a lot of money to them. They don't want to lose it. They don't want to spend it. And then I know a lot of poor people that go the opposite, right? They will spend $1,000. Doesn't matter if they're the last dollar, right? That doesn't affect them. And so what you need to do as a trader is understand your income variance. Understand how much money is a lot of you mentally, right? How much money is enough to affect you emotionally, right? Because you should never risk an amount that increases your heart rate. I know it sounds silly, it sounds crazy, but if you're in a trade and you feel your heart rate increase or you start to get nervous or something, you're using way too much size. That's just the truth. You're using way too much. You're risking way too much because you're probably risking it with an amount that is going to affect you emotionally, right? If $100 is a lot of money to you, don't risk $100 per trade. And so what you need to do is figure out what amount of money makes you emotional, and then that should be your risk limit at a maximum, right? For me, I know I can risk anywhere from $500 to $1,000 a trade, and it won't affect me emotionally. Now, was I like that 5-6 years ago? No, it was like $20, right? If I lost $20, I'd freak out. That was a lot of money to me, right? But as our account starts to grow and your income variance changes, you start to be more aware of that, and then you can increase your risk and go from there, all right? And it's really, really important that you're actually taking into account this variable, because if you're not, you're going to start getting very emotional. You're not going to follow your trading plan, and it's going to lead to a lot of different issues. Now, the last thing that I like to do to help you out with risk management is actually going to be using a risk management calculator. Okay, and this is a very simple calculator you can input to essentially know exactly how much you should be risking on each trade and how many contracts or shares to take. Now, the good news is inside the vault, which again, first link in the description, I have a free risk management calculator for you. Okay, and it goes over stocks, options, and futures right there. All right, I can even dive in and show you guys a little bit how it works, but this is the futures one. You can see if you want to risk $500 and you're risking about 8 points on ES futures, you should be taking about 1.3 contracts, right? Maybe you start risking 4 and you take 2.5 contracts, right? Maybe you want to risk only, $250, right? Maybe you want to go to MES then, right? It makes a bit more sense. If you're risking $250 and you're risking about, say 9 points, you should take 5.6 contracts, okay? And it has this for futures, has it for shares, does it for options, does it for literally everything. And again, all of this is 100% free inside the vault, first link in the description. But it is now time to go over to step number 3, which is going to be psychology. The thing with psychology is I'm going to show you guys 3 hacks you can use to help your trading psychology. 3 different secrets I use myself that help out a ton. However, what you need to understand is that the best way to actually master psychology is by having an edge in the market. Okay, if you have an edge, if you have a proven strategy that works, then you won't want to trade anything else, right? You would just want to stick to it. You're going to have good discipline. You're going to have good risk management with it, and it's going to make trading a lot easier. So even though these hacks I'm going to share with you are going to help out, what's really important is you actually have an edge, because that's going to help you out the most. But for part 1 of the psychology, we're going to go ahead and talk about OCO orders. Now, OCO orders are killer. If you guys do not use OCO orders, you are missing out. It is a complete game changer, and it basically goes like this. It stands for one cancel the other. And what I like to do is this, right? All my trading is if price hits X, so let's say I'm looking to buy at 300. If price hits 300, I'm going to enter with X amount of shares. So I'll set up an order that says when price hits 300, I'm going to buy, let's say 5 futures contracts, okay? And then if price gets down to 290, it's going to stop out. If price gets to 330, I'm going to take profit. And it's going to cancel the other order whenever I either hit my stop or hit my take profit. And this makes trading so incredibly easy and amazing because, first off, I'm not going to have any emotions when I have an OCO because I can get in, set my stop, set my target, and then walk away. I can literally walk away from the screen, walk away from the chart, and I don't have to worry about it. So not only is it going to get rid of my emotions because I'm not looking at the chart. I'm not going to have any emotions if I'm not looking at the chart. And the other thing is it frees up so much time. I have literally the rest of the day to do whatever it is I want. I can get in the morning, the first 30 minutes, set my stop, set my target. It doesn't matter if it takes 3 hours to execute. It doesn't matter if it takes 5 minutes. I get in, I walk away, and I'm done for the day trading. And at the end of the day, I come back and I see if I stopped out or if I made money. Okay, and this is a huge hack. It pretty much works on almost all brokers, so I'd highly recommend checking it out and seeing if it works on the broker that you have and try to start implementing them. Now, the next hack that I have for you guys is going to be a trading therapist, or we can call it a psychology coach. Now, these are a little bit harder to find. We have one inside my own community, but what's really important is that if you're able to find a psychology coach or a therapist who actually knows and understands trading, plus they have a background in psychology, it's just going to make it so much easier for you. And this is something that I've been using. A lot of my students use it. They get access to one. And it's incredibly helpful when it comes to actually being able to talk to someone, sit down, understand trading, understand your current situation, your mind, and give you simple hacks and simple tools to help you get over that psychology, okay? This is one that I still use. I work out with him on a weekly basis. I highly recommend you do that. And I'm being honest, guys, you don't even need to work with them all the time. Honestly, 1 or 2 sessions is good enough, and they'll be able to help you out, okay? I don't really have any other like programs or directions to show you other than a few testimonials that some of the students I have gotten from our own psychology coach. But I'm telling you guys, it works. It's a game changer. You should definitely find one to help you out with your trading. Now, the last one I'm going to talk about is going to be step number 3 of part 3 of psychology, which is going to be joining a community, okay? And I am going to plug my own community because I do think it's the greatest one. I actually have 2 of them, a little bit separate, but I have one that's completely free. It has 3,000 students. It's called The Vault. But if I'm being honest, guys, I'm not here to like pressure you. It doesn't matter. The most important thing is that you join one you think will help you out the most. Join one with people who are trading similar strategies, all right? Ones where you can bounce similar ideas off each other. If you don't want to trade supply demand, you don't want to trade options, you're doing Forex, crypto, different strategies, don't join my community. It's not going to help you out. It doesn't really matter. I don't care. What matters is that you join one that has people that are actually there to help you out, okay? And so doing that, you're going to have a bunch of people, you can bounce ideas off each other, learn from them. Most importantly, you can also have accountability buddies, okay? And this is a little hack I love to use is you find someone in that community, it doesn't have to be in a community, you find someone who is also a trader or understands trading, and you have them be your own accountability buddy. And what the favorite thing I love to use about this is I literally scream at my accountability buddies. It goes like this, right? If I have someone who's my accountability buddy, you basically just agree to kind of talk to each other throughout the market open, not really to give alerts or share strategies, but essentially hold each other accountable, right? So I could text my accountability buddy and say, hey, I'm feeling a bit emotional. I'm in a trade right now. I don't really know what to do. And he could text back and say, dude, get off the screen, set your OCO, walk away, like stop. Right? And having that extra validation, just having somebody else to help hold you accountable is a huge help when it comes to keeping your psychology in tune and making sure you're staying disciplined to your actual strategy. So I highly recommend you find yourself a good community and or a good accountability buddy. Okay, and what is finally next? That is it, the end of the video. Now, what I've shown you guys is 3 different obstacles in trading and also how to overcome them. I've shown you a strategy that works. I've shown you hacks on how to have good risk management. And I've also shown you hacks on how to have good psychology. And again, those are the only 3 things you need to actually get over the obstacles in trading and become successful, because there's nothing else stopping you from being successful after those 3 things, okay? Now, if you guys want to learn more about me, learn more about my system, my communities, everything's like that, what I've done is I've put together another free training. Okay, it's going to be the second link in the description. I'm just going to go over my 3-phase system that's helped over 300 traders now become profitable in just 8 weeks. Okay, and after the training, you'll have the opportunity to hop on a call with one of my coaches and see if you'd be a good fit for my one-on-one mentoring, if that interests you. If not, all good. I still want you to join the free community down below called The Vault. Okay, it's going to help you out a ton. It's 100% free. There's a million things in there to help you out. Tools, templates, live trading, courses, whatever it is, it's all there to help you out. And I really do hope you guys enjoyed this video because I put a lot of time into it. And if you guys want more videos like this, make sure to comment, make sure to subscribe as well, leave a like, and I'll make a lot more. But with that being said, hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.